I seldom kind of have these kinds of discussions, but sometimes I do. You know, the era of getting validation from other people outside the internet is kind of over. Yeah. I don't know, some people didn't get the memo, so, I guess that's why I'm gonna have to have this discussion. There's a lot of people still who don't have the internet. That's fine, I guess. It depends on how you look at it. But Western society in general, industrialized nations in general, the idea that folks can have their cake and eat it too is kind of crazy to me. And see, this is in essence, I think, what's driving a component of mental health. People are used to getting validation from other people. However, now that you have the internet, you get your validation online. That's it. Now, there are a small number of us who don't need validation. Yeah, I don't give a damn. But for most of you all, you need validation. And if you're not getting it online, people are trying to go outside and get it. But the reality of the situation is now that you have the internet, there is no more outside validation necessary, required. Yeah. So now nobody is getting any validation outside. And very few people are getting it online, which is leading to folks doing all kinds of crazy things. Yeah. Now, you'll never really start to hear these type of conversations in corporate media because a lot of those folks know this is a reality but don't really want to stress it. In essence, because it's not their fault. I could blame them, but it's not their fault, you all. I get tired of hearing people blame the media for everything. I sort of kind of just am over that. Because this one is really all of our individual fault. Yeah, if you're going to blame somebody, you got to blame yourself for this one. And I'm going to tell you why. All of us collectively in industrialized nations decided we were going to use the internet. Now, when the internet, and this is why I say people really don't understand what the internet is. Yeah, they really don't understand it. If you're on the internet and you're getting validation, why would I need to validate you outside? Yeah, why would I need to? Your validation comes from being online. Yeah. And so people are like, well, I still like validation in person. But the internet is not something that's not in person. Yeah, they're still seeing you. Technically, they're not right next to you or present with you, but they're still seeing you. It's kind of like television. People who are on the television, they got their validation from being on television. They didn't get it from being outside. Yeah, can you imagine? People always were kind of always giving celebrities a difficult time. And you know, what goes around comes back around. Because now you see why celebrities sort of kind of always wanted to remain private. Didn't like all that paparazzi and all of that shit. Now people see why. Because it's like once you do that, once you're on television, you already get your validation from the viewers, the fans, the audience. Why do I need to have to deal with that externally out in the general public? You know, at some point you just want to live your regular everyday life. But they had to sacrifice that, you all. And now that the internet is around, folks are understanding to a certain extent, not fully yet, but to a certain extent what that sacrifice really means. You can't eat your cake. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Yeah. So the outside validation, that era is over with. Because you're getting validated online. Yeah. The social media influencers that are going to have a really difficult time, and you're starting to see it now, are the influencers who want to do these huge giveaways to their fans. Like have these mob type actions. You see some of them getting held accountable for it. Because in essence, you can't do that. What would it look like if a big A-list movie star came outside and said, I'm going to give away $1 million worth of clothing that I've worn on movies? You know what kind of pandemonium and craziness that would cause? So you can't do that kind of thing. And see, these new social media influencers, because the internet is so new, they don't realize that they can't behave the same way they would outside in regular society anymore. Yeah, that era is over with. You can't get internet online validation and then think that you can get validation outside in the general public. I mean, you could try, but it's going to lead to some really not so pretty outcomes. Yeah, it's just not going to work. And so now that the internet has replaced television, as everybody that's on television is now on the internet has become something that's really, in essence, what the television used to be. Yeah. Yeah, and validation, you can't get it outside anymore. That era is over with. I don't think people have wrapped their heads around that concept yet. Yeah. And those that do know that that is a reality, that's why they're tripping out. Yeah, that's why a lot of people are tripping out. Because they're like, no more in-person validation. No. You all chose the internet to get your validation from. Yeah. People made that choice. You can't blame the technologists. They're only the inventors. Western society and folks who live in Western society made that decision. All of us did, as individuals. Yeah. And so when that reality starts to set in, what decision people made, the choices they individually made, you have to live with the choices you made. Yeah. We all do. Yeah, people don't want to have to live with the choices they make, but in essence, we all have to. That's a standard we all have to live by. In order to be a celebrity in Hollywood, boy, you're going to have to sacrifice a lot. Yeah, that's an understatement, sacrificing. And people really don't understand that. That's why I always tell you all, I really go to bat in defense for those folks. Because I know how difficult it is. Most people just see it and say, the fame, the fortune. What a life. But in essence, you're really having to sacrifice a lot of your common practices, things you all take for granted they can't do. They really can't. Yeah, and then you get all this type of harassment too from life's losers. Folks who can't cut it outside, online, with their friends, if they have any friends. Yeah, you get all of this harassment. And so those are losers. Yeah, they can't be winners. And so they're tripping out now too, because they're like, oh my goodness, I can't get validation online. I can't get validation outside in person. Woe is me, kind of thing. Now, here's the question. This is a big one. Is validation all that important? Now, I can only answer this for me as an individual. I can't answer it for you all as a collective. For me personally, validation is not that important. Collectively, though, for most people in general society, it's immensely important. Yeah, people have always wanted to be complimented, and told and looked upon and fawned over what they have and all of that shit. I don't give a shit about any of that shit. To me, it's just pomp and glitter. It's just a toy. It's just a title. Yeah, it is what it is. But most people, they want that constant validation. Look at me. Look at how great I am. Look at what I have. That kind of thing. And you can't get it in the general public anymore. Nobody's doing it. Because that's moved to the internet. Now, here's the trick and here's the rub about this. In places around the world where the internet is not such a big thing, non-industrialized nations, there are some. In places where a lot of times folks don't really use the internet, validation is still a thing that folks receive in person because they don't have the internet. They don't know about that kind of thing. But industrialized nations, we've made a choice. We've made a choice to be online avatars and get our validation from whatever our avatar is online. Now people are like tripping out about it. But I don't know what to think. To me, it's confusing because when you make, this is in general with people. When you make decisions without a lot of careful analysis of what the decision is going to truly entail, you can't blame anybody else for making that decision for you. Because you collectively, individually made that decision. Yeah, people will be like, I'm anti-technology now, but they're addicted to technology. So how are you going to be anti-technology when you're addicted to it? Yeah. It's not even remotely the reality. It's out of proportion and distant to what the reality is. Everybody I see is on their cell phone 24/7, 365, on leap year 366. Yet they want to complain about technology on their technological device. Can you imagine this? Everybody will be like, social media is causing so much trouble, but yet all day long they're on social media. Can you imagine this nonsense? And then they'll say, well, it's anti-human. Okay, now this is interesting. You gotta follow me on this. Is technology anti-human? To me, I'm going to say not necessarily. It depends. There is an element and component of it that is anti-human. However, it's like the blob. You all feed into your own narrative of misery, adversity, and negativity. Let me tell you a little bit as to how you do this. You go outside, not everybody, but a lot of you, and you act anti-human to one another. And then you go online and you perpetuate anti-human behavior as well. Now, if technology is anti-human, what does technology see that you behave and do? You act anti-human. So therefore, technology is going to regurgitate and feed back what you do. It's like a feedback loop, so to speak. So you get what you give. You manifest your own demise. Yeah, people could use technology in a beneficial way, but you use it adversely. And then you say it's the technology's fault. No, it's your behavior's fault. See, this is never wanting to take accountability for people's own personal actions. Before there was any technology, didn't we have wars? Didn't we have famines, poverty, unhoused people? Weren't people running around raping and pillaging and thieving things? Technology didn't create any of those bad behaviors that humans have exhibited towards one another. Now, some people can argue that it's amplified them. Perhaps. Maybe it's acted only as a mirror to show you what you already were. Yeah. I forget what that was. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all? It's you all. See, to me, technology is just a mirror into what you all really are. You don't like what you see back in the mirror, but it's what you are. You just have to accept it. Yeah, just accept it. If you want to be less anti-human, behave less anti-human. The technology will reflect that back to you. But you can't go outside and do the really God atrocious things that you all do, if there is one. You all act atrocious, especially in this republic. 24/7, you all are on some demon snake shit. And you think that really smart individuals and creatures don't know, but we all know. You all know you're on snake shit. Now, you want to blame the technology and say it's replacing you. But who wants to do business with a snake? I'd rather not. Most people would rather not. You know, this is like the folks that blame the COVID restrictions on their behavior once they were lifted. No, you chose to go outside and act like a savage once the restrictions were lifted. And then you wonder why people still abide by them. Because they don't want to be bothered with savages who choose to act like savages. Period. It's you all's behavior. You're the one driving this. Yeah, you all are the ones driving all of your own problems at this point. Nobody can help you or save you or do any shit. Yeah. You know, Because he used to tell folks that nobody can help anybody that doesn't want to help themselves. Yeah. So folks go outside and misbehave and then say, why can't we all just get along? The same douchebag that's outside misbehaving then comes online and says, why can't we all just get along? Well, you know why. Because you're a douchebag when you're outside, and chances are you're a douchebag when you're online too. So don't ask questions that you know the obvious answer to, right? Yeah. So I don't fault the technology. The technology is not at fault. You are at fault. The media is not at fault. You are at fault. The government is not at fault. You are the government. You know, that's why I don't really honor any of this shit that most people say. 1 minute is we the people. We're the government. And then this we the people just turns into the government is against us. Well, you can't have it both ways now. You can't say we're the government and then the government is evil. That means you're evil. That's what I hear. When you talk about the government, I'm like, most of those people come from the general public, meaning that's you all. So if they're evil, you're evil is how I hear that. Yeah. That's how I hear it. Yeah. But see, everybody wants to deflect, place blame on somebody else because they don't want to blame themselves. Many losers in life do this all the time. Life losers always blame winners. There's always jealousy and envy of the winners because they're losers. And you know how they stay losers? Because they always want to blame others. Instead of taking the time to become a winner, they'd rather be blamed and be envious and jealous of winners. Yeah. And so they remain losers forever. Yeah. Consistently losers. Yeah. But you all, I'm not going to blame technology, social media, any of that shit. Because at the end of the day, you all made a choice. You wanted validation from the internet, online. Now that choice doesn't seem to be sitting so well with a lot of folks. Yeah, whose fault is that? They'll be like, it's the machine's fault. See, these are really ridiculous folks. Nothing is ever their fault. I would say I'm surprised, but I'm not, because I see it all the time from you all. Nothing is ever your fault. It's always something else. It's always projection. Yeah. Somebody's making us behave some type of way. I'm like, who's making you do shit besides yourself? I get up. I don't ever see you all. I've been here for a while now. Every time I get up, I never see any red creature with horns. I don't have to check in with any red creature with horns and say, hey, today, devil, I'm planning to do this snake shit to somebody I don't know. Are you okay with that? Yeah, sounds great to me. Nice check-in today, devil. Have a nice day. Never happens. No, you all are demons. A lot of you. Not all, but a lot of you. We have the most demons of any other nation on the planet. Straight up in this country. You all are some demons. And you don't want to own up to it. Yeah. I happen to know that most of your cards got pulled, but that's a story for a different day. Yeah, because they pulled, you know how they pull the cards? And when I say they, I'm talking about the universe. not any individual. The universe pulled you all's card. And what do you know? It pulled the demon card. A lot of you have done some very awful things. We won't go into it. I don't like speaking about it. But you all know who you are and what you've done. Period. We all know. Most of us. You can try to pretend, fool certain people, but you can't deceive the universe. And the universe always wins. So, when you do shit, you gotta just take your lump. Yeah, I tell people that all the time. You gotta own up to what you do. Nobody is responsible for it besides yourself. Yeah. So this validation, you're not getting it from the outside world anymore. We have the internet now. Yeah. Get your validation online. Yeah. Nobody's going to be outside trying to validate you and all that shit. Yeah, this ain't 1983 anymore. Folks are running around acting like this is the 1970s, 1980s, before the internet. Will we ever get back to in-person validation? No. No, I'm going to be honest with you, no. We have technology now. Why would we need to? Let me tell you something. You haven't seen nothing yet. You know, this is a conversation for another video, but you all know that, like, once you go to some type of digital currency, which that's imminent, you're never going to have to see anybody again. Not only are you not going to get validation outside, you're probably not going to see anyone outside. You're like, why are they replacing everything with machines? Because why would I need to see you? Everything is going to be transacted on the internet. I just digitize this and some machine sends it to me. Yeah. Because it's going to be too dangerous to deal with people. Do you see how you all are acting outside now? It's going to be far too dangerous to interact with people. You all were told to socially distance. Have you even done that? No. See, so we're dealing with folks who are hard-headed, stubborn, don't do what they are told to do. When it's good advice, it'd be different if it were bad advice. They told you all good advice. They told you wash your hands, wear a mask, socially distance, and stay home, stay safe. Now, if they had told you go and kill a lot of things, break things, then you could have complained. But this was all good advice. And so you all can't even take good advice. Yeah, come on now. Yeah, when they do the digital currency, and here's the thing, a lot of societies have already done digital currency. Nobody uses cash in China. Cash. They'll laugh at you if you bring out some cash. They will laugh at you. Be like, what is this? Cash? Everybody uses their cell phone for everything. There is no cash. And you say, well, that's going to be a horrible thing. Well, you all are behaving horribly already. Yeah, it's like a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy in essence. Yeah. You can't say that you're against the anti-human technology and then when you go outside be anti-human to one another. Because then you're going to get more technology. Because folks will say, I can't deal with these humans because they're already anti-human. So the technologist will say, here's a solution to deal with this, where you don't have to deal with humans who are acting anti-human, right? Yeah. You all are blaming them for rolling out anti-human technology, but you're not acting pro-human outside, are you now? See, do you think really wise, high-level, high-intelligent, high-frequency creatures don't know these kinds of things? Because you all think you can get things by certain creatures. You can't. Yeah, you can't get shit by us. Period. Now, that's why I say technology, it's tricky. It's not necessarily anti-human. It's how humans have chosen to interact with it. Because what you all perceive as ancient civilizations, they had far more advanced technology. But it was more sustainable and beneficial to their societies. Yeah. Your technology, the way you all have chosen to develop your technology, has not been beneficial to your society. But you can't blame the technology. No. The pyramids, that was a technological feat that nobody has been able to master till present day. Yeah, nobody's been able to master that till present day. They're still here. Yeah, they've endured all kinds of things. Yeah. I don't think you all's technology will still be here like in 10 years. Like, give it a decade. I don't think most of this shit will be here. You all don't really know how to construct things all that well. That's for starters. Then what you construct doesn't really have any useful benefit to the general society. That's another point. There's a lack of input from the general society when you're building things. That's another point. And on and on and on. I digress, but you get the picture. This is about validation, though. You're not going to get it in the general public. That era is gone. That ship has sailed through the night. Validation will only be received online. Yeah. And then there's going to be a lot of folks who can't get validation on the internet. What to do with those folks? Well, just like television wasn't for everyone, the internet is not for everyone either. Yeah. Everybody can't make it on television. There's a lot of people that come on the television. They might do a really good job. They might do poorly. And then that's it. They have to go on to do something else. Maybe they'll become a chef, an author. Yeah. You all act like you just have to be one-trick ponies. Like, what's the average lifespan of some of you all? Like 70-something-ish? That's like 7 decades. In that time period, you don't just have to do one particular thing your whole entire existence. Shocking. Yeah. So maybe folks who don't cut it on the internet will go off and do something else of substance. Yeah. Maybe they'll open a restaurant, open a bakery. Yeah. I don't know. They'll find something to do. Hopefully it's constructive. Hopefully it's beneficial to them. Maybe to somebody else. Who knows? But this notion that everybody has to chop it on the television or the internet, that's kind of crazy too. Yeah. validation is not necessary in order to exist. Yeah. Most people like it, but it's not necessary. Yeah. For me personally, I dislike it. The least amount of validation, the better for me. If you all start validating my shit, I might start running for the hills. Yeah. Because that's scary. Yeah. But I just thought I'd tell y'all that online validation is where it's at. In person, nobody's validating you in person anymore. Child, please, this is not the 1970s and 80s. People are still outside. Look at me, look at me. Nobody is looking at you. Yeah, nobody cares about you outside. Period. Yeah. For the folks who don't have the internet outside, maybe they're too... I want to think about how to say this. Maybe they just don't want to use it, or they're too impoverished to have access to it in Western societies or industrialized nations. Those folks are kind of in a different world than most of us anyway. So you all look at them and say, oh, look at them. But you don't necessarily want to be in their same circumstance. Yeah, many of you all don't want to be in their same circumstance. So that's a catch-22 in essence, because people will be like, well, the people who don't use the internet are such and such and they're great. And then I'm like, well, switch places. Yeah. It's like that show that used to come on, Trading Places or Trading Spouses. Switch places. Yeah. But nobody's going to do that, right? So people love to complain about things, don't offer any solutions, know what the issue is, and then don't want to have to make the sacrifices to adjust the issue. Huh. This is a component of mental health. It's not the full complex issue as far as mental health in Western society. But it's a component, and I thought I'd share that with